Awesome. Welcome to Prepper Chicks After Dark. It is March the 11th, 2014, and we are here to play a few rounds of Conflicted, the survival card game. What we're going to do is we're going to throw out some scenarios off of the deck. I'll drop the link if you want to purchase your own cards in the chat room, or you can go to conflictedthecardgame.com and purchase your own. We have 2 sets out now. So make sure you get both of them because there's a lot of good scenarios on there. But we'll throw out some scenarios, work our way out of them, talk about the different options we have out there. Midpoint, we have 2 giveaways tonight. We'll get into that in a minute, and then we'll wrap it up. But please, if you're in the chat room, play along. We love you guys in there. You're a lot of fun. So let's get rolling here. So our first guest returning with us tonight, tried and true, Alika. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Lori. I am with SHTFready.com. We are a prepping survivalist forum that share ideas, and we help each other learn and prepare. We keep the politics out and keep focus on the prepping and all aspects surrounding it. Beginners to experts are welcome to share the knowledge. And you've heard of the ant and the grasshopper story. Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Now, and I don't know if I caught up to you. You have a giveaway coming up in your forum?
We do. It's still in the making. All I can say right now is that we got a brand new 12 gauge shotgun that we're going to be raffling off very, very soon. And I'll be announcing it in here when I get all the details locked into place.
Awesome. Awesome. So to get into the giveaway that's coming up, they need to go into your forum and sign up, correct?
We're working that out so everybody is can participate in the forum. There will be multiple ways to get into it, probably through all the social media outlets and, of course, through our forum.
Okay, awesome. Give us a heads up when that goes on because we definitely want to stay in touch with that. Who doesn't need a 12 gauge shotgun?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so next up, returning again, she's been on a few times now, one of my favorite female prepper chicks out there, Jane from Mom with a Prep. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. And like I said earlier, I'm sorry for the cough.
Yeah, you got a little under the weather, so we're appreciative of you being here, so
Thanks.
Thank you for that. And they can find you on Facebook and on your website?
Yeah, at momwithaprep.com. And we focus on family preparedness and teaching our kids how to be as prepared as we are.
Yes, because a generation of small little preppers would be a good thing in the future.
Yeah, and I've got 2 coming up that probably are going to outdo me pretty soon.
Good. I'd like to hear that. Our special guest tonight, I happened to be on his podcast not too long ago, but one of the icons in the prepping world, I should call him that, Prepper Recon. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, I put out the Prepper Recon podcast twice a week. That's over at prepperrecon.com. I've had some awesome guests on over there like Glenn Tate, Joe Nobody, James Rawls, Southern Prepper One, which I think everybody here is familiar with, Doug Casey, and of course Lori from the wildly popular Prepper Chicks After Dark.
Yeah.
And I've also written 2 books in the Economic Collapse Chronicles. Book 1 is called American Exit Strategy, and book 2 is American Meltdown, and both of those books are available on Amazon, and then they're also available in the audio version at Audible or iTunes. And then I have links to both of those through prepperrecon.com as well. And most of the podcasts are replicated on my YouTube channel, and that's just Prepper Recon also.
Yes, I'm actually in the middle of your second book right now. It's up beside my bed. It's kept me awake a few times because you deal with something maybe some other ones don't necessarily deal with. You're talking about the collapse of the United States itself, but you also have a unique spin where is you bump it up with some, let's say, end-time prophecy.
A little bit. There's a little bit of that in there. My next trilogy is going to have a little bit more of that. I really try to get deep into the economics the situations that we're going through right now, and try to, because a lot of people won't get an economics book and sit down and read an economics book, like Carmen and Rogoff wrote, This Time is Different, but man, I'll tell you what, that's a sleeper. I read it and it's a sleeper. And there's some other ones that do a little bit better job, but if it's in fiction, a lot of people will read that and they'll actually digest the information if it's put into an entertainment sort of a format.
100% agree. I think one of the much overlooked items in preparedness, for any, even if you put it in your Bob even, is these books that you guys are putting out, because you guys do a lot of research that goes into these books, a lot of accurate research that a lot of people even don't do. And there's a lot of good information in there that people can draw from. It opens their minds up to different situations. And I just think it's something that we need to get out there and get more involved in, is getting these books out there to people.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Awesome. Now, let's get rolling here with a question. And then, you guys in the chat room, I want you to pay attention, because Prepper Recon is going to be giving away both of his books, 2 separate questions that he already has picked out. So make sure that your Google fingers are ready and you have an extra window open, because you'll want to make sure that you hit up those. And then once we have a winner in the chat room, what we'll do is you need to send me or get in touch with Prepper Recon. How would they get in touch with you to get your books then, if they win tonight?
Email me at prepperrecon@gmail.com.
Okay. So
and that's one word, prepperrecon@gmail.com.
Get in touch with him or send me an email email to prepperchicks@yahoo, and we'll make sure that you get both of those, or get the one you win, let's say. So let's rock and roll here. Let's start off with this question. This question is going to be from deck number 1. I'm going to go back a little ways. So we do have, JD does have 2 decks out, so make sure you get both of them. So first question: one of your friends became a problem that could put at risk the lives of the entire group, including your family. Your friend won't stop his reckless behavior and refuses to be thrown out of the group since he contributed to it, and his wife and children have nowhere to go. He has lost it and is now putting the entire group at risk, but no one has the heart to deal with this but you. You've tried to have a serious conversation, but that still doesn't work. How would you handle the situation, and why would you handle it in the way that you're going to let us know? So, Alika, why don't you go first?
If he's creating a problem, friend or not, he's going to have to get dealt with, because he's jeopardizing the safety of my family and, the rest of the people around me. It's, even with him being a friend, I must admit, it will be a little bit harder to, pull the trigger, I guess, but, it has to be done for the good of the group. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So how would you go about having that conversation with him?
I would just lay it out on the line. He needs to pretty much get his crap together, or he's gonna face the wrong end of a firearm. Basically, there's no wiggle room around that.
So even though you guys are good friends, if you had to take force to get him under control, you wouldn't hesitate.
Oh, I wouldn't hesitate. Part of it's probably because I'm a sociopath with no emotions. But there's no hesitation to that. It's just, it's safety, is paramount in a situation like that.
Gotcha. And Prepper Recon, how would you handle the situation?
Yeah, if he's creating problems, you gotta go. I'm sorry about the wife and kids. Things are tough all over. You made bad choices, and this world, pre-apocalypse or post-apocalypse, when you make bad choices, you have to deal with the consequences. And the consequences in this case are that you're out of the group, and you can go the easy way or the hard way.
Well, would you guys throw your buddy out, knowing that he could possibly, he's going to be pissed off at that point. There's no doubt about it. If you're going to throw him out with his family, would you risk turning him loose to bring other people back to your group, though.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give people the shot, and then you got to give them the chance to do the right thing and do it the right way, and then you just got to be vigilant that if they come back around, that there's no second chances. If we have to do this again, it will be bloody.
For me, I think it would have to be on the degree of how he's jeopardizing the safety of the group. I mean, if he's going around telling everybody what we have and what we're doing, it's better to silence him out right now. Or, if he's, or something minor, then, see him off and tell him don't come back again, or we'll deal with you another way.
You wouldn't go ahead and just take him out to begin with? If you've tried everything that you possibly could and your options were to take him out or let him go to bring other people back in?
The safest way would be to take them out just right off the bat, but it's really hard to go with that one.
I mean, he's already putting your group at risk being in the group by his actions, but if you turn him loose, you also risk him still putting your group into danger because he could bring other people back or tell other people where you're at or anything like that.
You would have to rely on, gut feelings and reaction and whatnot, go off of there. But again, safest way would be just to end it for him.
Recon, do you have anything that you want to add to that? What do you think?
If he's made statements that he intends to hurt the group or come back with more force, then yeah, you just got to deal with him. And I don't think that there's really, unless if you have the type of society and you've got that type of infrastructure and community where you have the resources to imprison somebody and you can do it that way, great. If not, I think that you're going to have to take Alika's path. If he hasn't made statements to the effect that he intends to continue to disrupt the group or come back with other people or anything like that, then I think you have to give him the chance and then just be ready if he does come back.
Gotcha. Do you think that maybe putting fear into him, maybe just tying him up or putting him in a room for a while would change his mind? Or do you think
maybe
you would
a little waterboarding? Sure.
Hey,
that.
it is what it is sometimes, we're talking about our families and keeping them safe versus who knows what, So, interesting. Definitely. So let's go on to question number 2. Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to throw you a curveball. What if this friend of hers happens to be your brother?
It's my brother?
Yeah, this person that's disrupting your group happens to be your brother. Would that change your perspective on how you would deal with him?
It'd make it harder, but it wouldn't change the methodology.
Alika, would it do anything different for you?
No. Like you said, it would make it harder, but it wouldn't change anything.
Gotcha. I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. I'm trying to get Mom back in the chat room or into the radio show. We've lost her. She's out there wandering around in cyberspace somewhere. But I'm going to work on that. But let's go on to question number 2. What are the pros? And this is from deck number 2. And something that a lot of people don't talk about a whole lot, which is sad. I think they're opening up to it, but we'll see. What are the pros and cons of organizing MAGs? And by MAGs, I mean mutual assistance groups. So you're getting a like-minded group of people around you. So what are the pros and cons of starting a group before the collapse? Do you think it's a good idea? If so, how would you go about establishing that relationship with another group now? So, Recon, what would you do? Do you think they're important?
I think they're very important. I think I'm super blessed because, I hear so many horror stories of people whose families are completely not on board, and everybody in my family is at least marginally accepting of the fact that there is that potential for things to go absolutely catastrophically, irrevocably wrong. And so I think I'm very blessed with that. And so I've got, within my family group, I've got my brother who is, ex-special forces. My sister is a nurse practitioner. I've got another sister who is just a tremendous homemaker. She's great with canning and gardening. Her husband's a hunter. I've got a niece that's in the medical field. Another niece that's in the Air Force. So I've got a really good collection of a mutual assistance group in my immediate family. And then my mom is, she's really, she came from Southern Kentucky and she grew up on a farm and so, she's got a lot of, law skills. And, so I'm really, really blessed in that. And so that's my mutual assistance group is my family. So, fortunately, I don't have to think about that a whole lot. And one of the things about family, if you can do that, if you can, sometimes family's tough, but in most cases, you've already dealt with the conflict that's going to come up in these type of situation. You've already, a lot of times, siblings have usually already cohabitated and you've been through a lot of stuff together, so you kind of know how people react under stress. You kind of know how people react, how selfish they are or how giving they are. And you kind of have this idea of their, personalities, at least among the siblings, and even the wives and husbands as well. So, I'm really blessed with that. And I think that when you get outside of that, I think that all brings a lot of extra stress to the table of figuring out, well, this guy's a great guy right now, but what's he gonna be like when he hasn't eaten anything except oatmeal for 3 weeks, Yeah. And Harry over here, love him to death, but, I worry, I don't know if he's gonna pull his weight when it's time to start, standing up all night, standing guard and tilling the garden and doing work and stuff like that, So, and with family, you know that you kind of know what you're getting.
Have you
the good and the bad?
Do you all live around each other?
We don't. And I'm in Southern Florida, and most of them are in Kentucky, and then I have a sister in Ohio. But there's a pretty good collection of farms and larger rural real estate in Kentucky that we would all
mosey to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not going to be able to, if things get to that level, if we have that degree of a breakdown, you're going to have multiple families living in one location because you're going to need 2 people pulling guard duty 24/7,
Minimum.
So you might have 2 people doing 8-hour shifts. So you need 6 people just to do guard duty.
Yes. Because that's something a lot of people don't think about is I hear a lot of time, well, I'm just going to go lone wolf it, or it's just going to be me and my family. Well, you're going to get tired really quick doing that. Now, have you and your family, do you do like, family reunions every so often, or do you chat on a regular basis?
We get together most every Christmas. And then with birthday, my grandmother just had her 100th birthday last year. I guess she's gonna live forever.
She wants to see this. She wants to see this roll.
Yeah. So she was actually born before the Fed was brought in. When she was born, there was no income tax, and when she was born, $5 was a quarter ounce of gold.
I bet she has some stories.
Because there was no Fed.
Yeah. And I bet sitting down with her, just talking to her would just be a plethora of information.
Yeah, she lived through the Depression, and they raised sugar cane and made molasses to trade because sugar was tough to get. So molasses was always a high demand barter item, and it was a barter system because not because the currency collapsed or had no value, but it's just nobody had any work and nobody had any money. But it was a barter economy largely.
Gotcha. She would probably be the most valued person on a prepping team. If it came down to it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were talking about that last week. You know, would you rather have someone that's up there in age but has all that knowledge versus someone who's like, you know, some guy that's 25 years old and is strong? And most everybody agreed that knowledge is something a lot of people don't have. And something you can't go out there and find, but you can always find somebody that has the strength or whatever you need there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Alika, what do you think?
I think organizing mags is a good thing before the collapse, because usually people that want to get into these groups know skills. So, for example, I haven't practiced my farming skills. I've killed everything I've tried to grow. In a group like that, it would be benefit me to learn from a particular person that knows how to grow his own crops, or she knows how to tell when it's time to harvest the potatoes or corn or whatnot. You would just have a plethora of knowledge right there. You'd be stupid not to take advantage of that, and hopefully I could offer them information too. And I think the good way to just establish that relationship with another group is just get out there and know your neighbors, find out what they can and can't do, or what they believe in, play conflicted with them and see what their ideas are.
Yeah. Now, would you want to know who the groups are around you, though, too, your neighbors, ahead of time?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be beneficial if, factions started forming, or, different clans, so to speak. It'd be good to know who was on your side, or if you could call for backup or run to, your secondary bug out point. So, you have backup waiting for you.
I keep remembering that show that was on TV, and I don't remember the name of it. Maybe you guys do. But it showed the guy that had gone to his bug out location with his family, and they were locked in underground, I believe. And the son or the daughter's boyfriend was giving the neighbor guy food or something, or was telling them they had food. And the neighbors had seen the guy, over the years going to the location, but he never reached out to them. He didn't talk to him or anything like that, but they kind of knew each other from seeing each other occasionally. Do you remember that show? I don't know if it was Blackout.
It was the Nat Geo, EMP show.
Do you think if he would have handled that differently and maybe brought the neighbors from that rural area into his group, it would have played out differently?
I don't know. I don't think any of those neighbors had anything. So, I mean, I think they would have all just been a drain on his resources. So,
but if he would have talked to him earlier, let's say a year before prior, like when he bought the property a couple years prior, if he would have reached out to them then, could he have maybe, brought them into the group and persuaded them to, talk?
Yeah, he could have tried, but, a lot of people, they don't have time for that. They've got golf and, the football game, and they got to get new rims for the Mercedes, and the flat screen's getting outdated. I got to get the 3D one now, and and there's just too many other priorities on top of prepping, and they just even folks that think something's going to happen. The percentage of the people that believe we're actually on a downward spiral, and that the things have the potential to get catastrophically bad, the percentage of them that take any action steps to do anything about it is so slim. But yeah, you got to try, and and I think that, and you have to do that in your communities, and I think you start those conversations, and you just try to center it around the things that you have to prepare for in your area. I live in Florida, so here a good conversation is, hey, you guys all stocked up for the hurricanes, because if they don't have 3 days worth of food, then they're not going to be a good ally in a collapse scenario if they won't buy 3 days worth of food for a hurricane, which is something that happens here all the time.
Yeah.
And in California you got earthquakes, and up north you've got polar vortexes, which I think you and I talked about, Lori.
Yes, that's something new in our vocabulary anymore.
Yes.
But, we're not pointing out the fact that you have to give them your full hand, deal your whole deck. You start those questions, those little things that feel people out. Yeah, use what's going on around you and see how they would react. But I'm going to try something real fast. I'm going to dial us back in real fast and see if we can grab Mom real fast. And then you guys in the chat room, I want you to pay attention. As soon as we get back on air, we are going to do the trivia questions. So go ahead and bring up your extra screens and get your Google fingers ready, because it's on at that point. So you guys hang in there. Recon and Alika, you guys answer real fast, okay? And we're going to try and snag Mom. Jane, did we get you? Did we get anybody?
You got me.
You got me.
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, that didn't work either.
Here.
Okay, well, let's go on to our trivia question then. First, what I want you to do is go ahead and reintroduce yourself. Let everybody know how they can contact you, your websites and all that. And then we'll get into the trivia question. So, Alika?
Here we go. I had it on mute. Sorry. I am with SHTF. Hello?
I can hear you, Lori. Can you hear me?
Oh, you are on. We got you.
Woohoo.
Okay. Well, we're just reintroducing ourselves, so we'll get back in. So, Alika, you go ahead.
All right. I am with SHTFready.com. We're a prep and survivalist forum. We share ideas and help each other learn and prepare. We keep the politics out, and we focus on the prepping and all aspects surrounding it. Beginners to experts are welcome. On our forum, you heard of the ant and the grasshopper story. Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. And Prepper Recon?
And I'm Prepper Recon with the Prepper Recon podcast. We put out 2 shows every week at prepperrecon.com. I'm also an author. I'm writing a trilogy. It's called The Economic Collapse Chronicles. Book 1 is American Exit Strategy. Book 2 is called American Meltdown. Book 3 will be out this summer, and it's going to be called American Reset. And there's links to purchase those at prepperrecon.com on the sidebar, or you can just go directly to Amazon and you'll be able to purchase it on paperback, Kindle, or audio.
Awesome. And they are great books. Lots of food there for thinking. So, and Mom, we have you back with us. Or we don't. I think we just lost her again. Skype has just been finicky today. I don't know if it's the storm that's coming in. We're supposed to get another 6 to 9 inches of snow here in Indy tonight.
In March.
So.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we've already had our record, so we really don't need any more. They can keep it, but, yeah. But I don't know what's going on. But let's get into the trivia questions here. So, Prepper Recon, you have 2 questions for everyone in the chat room. And each of these questions will receive what?
They will, whoever can answer both questions will receive both books. So, if somebody if somebody gets one right and the other one wrong, then the second book will go to the next person that can get, one or both right.
Awesome. So, first question. People, pay attention in the chat room. What's your first question?
First question is, what country's currency went through a crisis in 2001? And the second question is very similar. What country's currency went through a crisis in 1998?
So go ahead and repeat those for everyone.
And that's what countries' currencies went through a crisis in 2001 and 1998. And they're big countries. They're not little teeny countries that nobody's ever heard of.
Gotcha. And I do believe we followed a couple of these countries on Prepper Chicks. We always try and learn from what's going on in the world. So definitely like to pay attention. So we're gonna log back in real fast and try and pick up Mom one more time.
Okay.
All right, hang on, guys. I do not hear her again. Okay. So let's check the chat room. What do we have going on here?
It looks like Top Knot has won one, and it looks like
Hecty?
Hecty is 1-1.
All right, Top Knot and Hecty. How would they?
Top Knot gets book 1 and Hecty gets book 2.
Okay, guys, now listen up. Now, how would they get in contact with you again?
They're going to send me a email and just tell me that you're Top Knot, and you're going to send me the email at prepperrecon@gmail.com and send me your address. And I'll tell you what though. Unless you'd rather have the audio version, and then you just say that you'd rather have the audio version, and I'll send you that in an MP3 file. It's an MP3 zipped file, because I'm a huge audiobook person, because if I'm not doing stuff, then I'm at the computer and I'm doing stuff or whatever, and then it's when I'm doing yard work or going to the gym or commuting and doing those kind of things, I'll stick an audiobook on. And that's just a great time for me to listen to books, because otherwise a lot of times I just don't have time for books.
Right. I understand. Well, yours is beside my bed, so you know what I'm doing instead of sleeping at night.
And then that's what I'll do and I'll start reading and I'll fall asleep, and then, sometimes it's good to read a little bit before bed.
Gotcha. Now,
Top Knot, Hecty, you send me the email and just let me know if you want the paperback. Then give me your mailing address, or tell me if you'd rather have the audio, or if you'd rather have the PDF. So awesome. Whichever format you'd rather have, and if it's PDF or audio, then I'll just email those to you. And if it's paperback, make sure you give me your address.
Awesome. Okay, let's get on to the new question. Now, this is from Deck 2. And it was submitted, I don't know, Prepper Recon, if you're familiar, but with Deck 2, JD opened it up so that way you can submit a question online, and he'll print the name that it was submitted to on the card itself. So when they're distributed, people can see who the cards are from. So this card came from readyandprepped.com, and here's how it rolls. The U.S. dollar has been printed out of value. Sound familiar? And the global economy.
Very familiar.
Yeah, and the global economy.
Somebody should write a book about that.
Or two.
Or a trilogy.
There you go.
A trilogy out of that.
And the global economy has collapsed. Now, the governments of the world have mandated everyone receive a radio frequency identification, or FID chip, as part of a new digital currency. Geez, this sounds very familiar. Everyone who does not receive the implant will be cut off from buying or selling. Would you receive the chip, or what steps would you take to survive in this new world era? Now, before we go on to the answers, I do have to give a shout out. Chris isn't with us tonight because last week, his wife and him, I'll include him too because he was involved at certain points in this, they had a little baby girl who is the stinkingest, cutest little thing on the planet. So we want to give a big shout out to Chris and his wife. You guys, super duper job there on that one. And when he gets back, I'm sure he'll share baby pictures with everyone, but congratulations to them. So, on to the question. Recon, how do you think? Would you take the chip or not?
No, and actually there's the chip is in, it's in book 2, in 3. I have that in there too. So, that question's right up my alley. And no, I wouldn't take it. And I think that that's one of the important things to have, barter items. and to have gold and silver, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to take it. And I think that if you're shut out of the stores and you can't go to Walmart anymore, then I think that a lot of people will be doing a lot of bartering. And, you know, and the best barter items are the things that you use every day. You know, toilet paper and coffee and chocolate.
Alcohol.
And, yeah. Of course, I'll tell you what, though, and a lot of people think about cigarettes and alcohol as barter items, but I'll tell you what, in the collapse, those are going to be things that the people that have decided that they're going to take their limited amount of resources and they're going to use it for booze and for cigarettes. Those people are going to quickly run out of resources, and when they do, they're going to know who's got the food. And so, you know, just affiliating yourself with those people is going to add potential for more problems for you down the road. And I'll say another thing for anybody out there that's struggling with those addictions, with whether it's alcohol or cigarettes or whatever it is, all that stuff is it's slowing you down right now. But if we have some sort of a collapse, it's really, really going to slow you down.
Big time. And you make a point too. And I would say I wouldn't deter anyone from smoking either, but alcohol specifically has other value to it besides drinking it and getting drunk.
Sure.
It's medicinal properties.
It does.
But you bring up a good point. It attracts the wrong kind of people that you want to barter with. So definitely. Now, what would deter you? Why not take the chip? I mean, all it is an implant under your skin so that way you can buy and sell.
Well, I'm a Christian, and I think that there's the potential that might be the mark of the beast, which damns your soul to hell. So, for me, I'm really looking at the long-term perspective on that one, and I'm just going to have to say no, even if it means starving or getting my head chopped off, because, you know, in our perspective, you know, we're here for a short time, and then you've got eternity to deal with the consequences or rewards for the decisions that you made while you were on this plane.
Now, let me ask you this as a Christian. What signs are you looking for specifically, do you think, to warn you that not to take this? Because right now, even if you watch TV, they're touting it as a good thing. You can keep track of your elderly. There are nursing homes, I believe, in Florida that every patient has one of these chips. It has your medical information on it. It keeps track of your kids. All of our animals pretty much have them if you go to a veterinarian, things like that. They're touting it as a good thing. So as a Christian, from your perspective, what are some of the warning signs that you're looking for specifically?
Well, specifically the thing that you said in the question about that you wouldn't be able to buy or sell without it, and that's one of the specific requirements in Revelations that marks that as being the mark of the beast, that you would not be able to buy nor sell unless you took that mark.
Well, I've heard horrible things about them so far pertaining to causing cancer, infections. I read a report a couple years ago pertaining to, it was interesting, that the thinnest skin on your body is on the back of your hand or on your forehead, and that's where they were working at the best. And specifically in Scripture, it talks about the mark would be located in those specific areas too.
That's right, right hand or your forehead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So interesting. Lika, do you have a different take on that? Would you take a RFID chip?
No, I would pass on that too. And besides the medical issues that might come up from having an RFID chip in you, I'd be more paranoid if they could somehow turn it into a tracking
in a heartbeat
device, and just run all they need is some government MRAP running through the streets with some kind of machine pinging the signal off, and you could find your bug out location too easy. That would be my biggest fear.
Yeah.
I mean, if the buying and selling is not a big deal, probably overnight, bartering would just come up with, and you would have your basic, your own black market, so to speak. And that's where I would buy my alcohol from. But, people have been bartering for years, centuries even. A stupid chip going on a currency, it's not going to stop anybody.
No, I agree with you there. It's not going to stop a lot of people, but I think a lot of people that have religious beliefs about it, particularly. I'm a Christian. I have been watching RFID chips in multiple avenues of tattooing and things like that coming out for years and years. That's a big issue. And, that's one of the reasons why I prep, is so I don't have to rely upon something like that in order to feed my family. And as I've been going along my journey in preparedness, it seems like more and more people of like-minded are coming together, which I think is absolutely fascinating. I'll just be someplace and, just out of the blue, somebody will walk up to me and start talking about it. And it's like, they don't know who I am, so it's just absolutely fascinating to me, what's going on out there in the world right now. But, it'll come down to making an allegiance to something if you want to eat. And that's the way to get to people, is to make their bellies hungry. That's what sustains a riot. Nothing else will.
Very true.
Absolutely. And I think that also that could be a tipping point for a lot of Christians and even non-Christian people that hold libertarian views, that say we're just absolutely not going to do this. And I think that you might see a lot of resistance, similar to what we're seeing in Connecticut right now, of just people saying, I am not going to register my gun in Connecticut.
I'm tired.
Which I think is what did Rosa Parks said? She said, I'm tired of being tired, or something like that. And she was just basically saying, I'm just saying no, I'm just not going to do it. And I think it's ironic that Connecticut, the border is only 50 miles away from Lexington and Concord, where there was another, refusal to turn in guns and let the government step in and take guns and ammunition.
Yeah.
And the Patriots won that one,
Yeah.
With only 3% of them actually standing up for it.
And more people are feeling the same way. We're tired, And don't get me wrong, and Jules brought up this in the chat room, here on, UCY.tv. They already know a lot of the stuff that we're doing already. They listen to our phone conversations. They read and scan our mail. This has all been documented in the news. And most of the mainstream media news is falsified to a huge degree. You're sheepled into whatever they want you to know and how they want you to know it. So if you're relying on Fox and CNN and all those guys to get the truth, please stop. You need to get out there and you need to go down those rabbit trails that are scary. They're scary for a lot of people when they realize what's really going on out there. But they need to understand that there are those people that have gone before them that are there to help them too. Because I know it's freaked out a lot of people when they discover the truth. But get your news from alternate sources. UCY has a lot of great people on this radio station. You, Prepper Recon, you're out there, you're blaring it, you're getting the news out there to people. They need to really pay attention to that stuff, and as opposed to what's being force-fed them.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you another great news aggregation site is Sean over at SGT Report. He has another site called the Liberty Mill, and he aggregates a lot of really good liberty-minded sites on there. And there's probably 30 different websites represented on the Liberty Mill, and it's just got the RSS feed of like the last 5 posts from each one of those sites. And that's one of the places I go right after Drudge every morning, when I'm checking out my stuff.
Well, they were mentioning in the chat room about the black boxes in the cars and being able to control a vehicle remotely. I've, seen the reports about being able to make someone have a heart attack remotely without even being around them by radio waves and sound waves and stuff. That plane that disappeared
Andrews
out of
Breitbart.
the plane that disappeared out of Malaysia. A lot of scary stuff going on with that. And it just brought it out in the news that Boeing just admitted that 777s can be remotely taken control of. So it's out there. And things are coming to light that have been hidden for so long. And it scares a lot of people. But, we need to just keep yelling and screaming and letting people know that there are people out here that get it and see it and have for a long time. And it's going to be okay. We just have to get prepared.
That's right.
Let's go. What time is it? We've got about 13 minutes. So let's go on. Do either one of you have a question that you want to throw out there?
If he doesn't have one, I'll read it.
Go ahead, Alika.
Yeah. You work in a large hospital and the world has been thrown into utter chaos. Unable to receive supplies in the foreseeable future, the hospital's current stock will only last for days. Would you steal the remaining supplies for personal use and be prepared, or leave the supplies to be depleted by the public?
So you work in a hospital.
And
shit hit the fan.
Exactly.
So would you take the supplies that are left for your own personal gain, or would you stay at the hospital and help people? Does it mention if you have a family? Are you a single person?
No, it doesn't even, it just says you work in a hospital. And would you steal the remaining supplies for personal use?
What do you think, Alika? What would you do?
I mean, if I was the custodian or cafeteria worker, I'd probably take as much or take as much supplies for personal use as I can and leave what I can't carry behind. I think it would be a little bit different if I was a doctor. I think I'd feel a little more obligated to try and help as many as I can, but at one point I'd probably have to step back and go, okay, I'm putting a Band-Aid on a leaking dam. I need to get the hell out of here now, and take whatever's left.
Is that with the fact that you have a family, or is that no matter if you have a family or not?
It wouldn't matter, because if I didn't need to use it, I know I could easily trade it for something else. I think medical supplies will become a high demand item as a shit hit the fan scenario prolongs and goes over months and years even.
Now, most physicians take an oath to bring no harm. Would you so you would just throw your oath away?
Yes and no. Like I said, I would definitely try and help as many people as I can if I was a doctor, but you have to at one point step back and go, okay, I'm becoming inundated with patients and the supplies are depleting. I think I would bug out and, take care of myself, or, especially if I have a family, I would think of them for other people first.
So no matter what, you would see that there's no way to help everyone, so you would just go ahead and go.
Yes.
Would you do that if let's flip it a little bit. I'll give you a little hook here. Instead of a hospital medical scene, if it was the military, would you do the same thing?
Ooh.
You've sworn allegiance and you are in control and you have access to, say, ammunition or small arms or something, or even medical supplies or food. Would you do the same thing?
That one's a little harder. I'd have to stay to the end for that one. The allegiance that I've taken, I plan on bleeding for this country. So I would have to go down with the ship on that one.
So if you're a physician, you'd screw the hospital, but if you're military, you would stand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even if you had a family?
Well, my family now knows, even with my wife, when I was in Iraq, she knew that I might not come home, and all military families are prepared for never to see their spouse again due to the job that they took, and the oath that we've all gone through to pretty much defend the homeland.
Okay. Prepper Recon, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, if I'm a doctor, I'll take it from, probably it doesn't matter, but especially if I'm a doctor, I'm going to clean out as many supplies as I can, put them in my bag, and haul out of there. Because if things are falling apart, then we're going into a without rule of law situation, and my personal safety is now at risk. And I have to worry about that first before I can help anybody else. It's that the example of being in an airplane. If you've got an infant child with you, when the mask drops, you have to first put your own mask on, because if you don't and you're fighting to put the kid's mask on, you might not get their kid on their mask on before you pass out from a lack of oxygen. So you got to take care of yourself so that you're there to be in the position to help anybody else. For starters, and me being a doctor, I'm gonna have the best skills to utilize those resources to help people in my community. And I'm not going to be able to do it in that hospital that's getting ready to be overrun. I just got a letter from a reader a couple of weeks ago, and he's a first responder in New York City. And despite the fact of Hurricane Sandy, despite 9/11. They have not done anything to increase their surge capacity for disasters. They're pretty much every day operating at almost full capacity. You might be able to have an uptick of about 10% in a surge that they would actually be able to handle. After that, the hospitals are full. There's no more ambulances, and there's no more medicine or anything else. So they're just, if it's something bigger than a large fire in a big building, they can't handle it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Actually, G. Michael, if you go over to his page and look real fast, he posted something today. It's from the New York Times. It said, U.S. citing urgent need, calls on hospitals to improve disaster plans. So, is that a forewarning that we need to pay attention to, or are they out now just telling us you're screwed? You need to be on your own for this. So take it as you want to, but even it's breaking the news that hospitals cannot, take care of you if something would happen. So, Prepper Recon, quick question. Your curveball, if you want to take it as that. You're a Christian. How do you justify stealing in a situation like that?
Well, I think I'm allocating resources because I'm a doctor, and I'm going to be able to utilize those resources to help my community, as opposed to leaving them there irresponsibly for some gang that's just going to come in there and rip them off and sell them at extortion level prices so they can get more drug money or whatever they're going to do with it, because somebody's going to get those resources. So it might as well be me that knows how to use them.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of people haven't thought about, is the fact that after a downgrade situation, the hospitals themselves will become just an infestation of people going through withdrawals and things like that. Instead of and here I go, I'm not going to be politically correct here. Instead of a real situation such as you're bleeding to death or something along that line, they're going to be inundated with people that are going through withdrawals and trying to take over the hospital to get the drugs and stuff that they want, they need, their body is craving. And if you have not seen the people in that kind of situation, they can be quite dangerous and not the place that you want to be. So, I don't know how many doctors are out there that are willing to step away from that or will be able to, because somebody in the chat room brought up the fact that A lot of the hospitals are going to be surrounded by the police and the military to keep them protected.
Yeah, and if you're a prepper, right now it's so easy to get medical supplies. It's so easy to go on Amazon and order some sutures and a little medical kit. It doesn't have to be the surgical steel stuff. You can get a little stainless steel one for about $20, a little stainless steel kit that's got just about everything on there. Right now it's easy to go on YouTube and learn how to do a suture or how to put an Israeli battle dressing on.
Yeah, get the training now.
Or how to operate a combat application tourniquet. And all of that stuff is cheap and easy right now. And it's crazy the amount of people that'll blow $5,000 or $10,000 on guns and ammo, and they don't have $100 blowout kit with a chest seal and an Israeli battle dressing in it. Unless you're bulletproof, the other side of you having a gun is the other guy might have one too. And you could be the quickest draw in town, and you could be the champion at the marksmanship classic, and you can shoot him dead, but he can squeeze off one lucky round before he quits breathing, and it'll ruin your whole day.
That definitely will. And get to trading now before you need it. Patriot Nurse is traveling the country, and giving out lots of good advice. She mentions the fact that you're probably not going to die from a bullet wound. It's probably going to be dysentery or something that's going to take you out in a downgrade. So do you have the stuff on hand to take care of diarrhea and things like that are going to kill you probably a lot faster? But we're down to 2 minutes, so before we lose everyone, if you guys want to, let's give a recap of what websites you're on, what you're up to, and all of that. So, Prepper Recon?
It's PrepperRecon.com, and come by, check out the twice weekly Prepper Recon podcast, and you can get it at PrepperRecon.com, or you can get it on my YouTube channel, and check out the books. Economic Collapse Chronicles. So book 1 is American Exit Strategy, and book 2 is American Meltdown, and then book 3 will be out this summer, and that will be American Reset.
Okay, I'm going to get to your website and drop the link into the chat room for everyone. Now, what do you have coming up? Anything in the near future that you want to talk about real fast?
There's book 3. It'll be out this summer.
Awesome. So get 1 and 2 now so you can get it read up before 3 comes out.
That's right.
All right, Alika?